Quantum travel is an integral part of getting around in Star Citizen. Whether it's going from planet to meet your friends, or just going to your mission destination, chances are you'll be QTing there. In this video, we'll look at learning how to use quantum travel and the associated Skyline star map. Let's start with the basics first. Once you're in your ship, if you want to start quantum travel, you have to press the B button by default to turn on your quantum drive. You'll notice that when you turn it on, the number at the top is the spool percentage begins increasing. You'll also notice that the number for calibration stays at 0. This is because we're not pointed at a destination yet. If we look around, we notice that all of our destinations are highlighted in red. In this view, if something is red, that means we can't currently quantum travel to it. In this case, it's because I'm too low in the atmosphere. So we'll fly up until we're out of the atmosphere a bit, and then we should be able to quantum travel to more locations. We notice here in front of us we've got Everest Harbor, and I'll keep that there on screen so we can see when it turns blue, in the case of an Aegis ship, to show us that we can quantum travel to it. Once you're high enough in the atmosphere, you'll notice that some of the icons should no longer be red. Please note that depending on which planet or moon you're currently on, this altitude will be different. Even though we're high enough, and we can jump to Everest Harbor, we still see there are some locations that are marked red. This could be because there's an obstacle blocking our destination, or it could be that we have insufficient fuel to reach that destination. If we want to jump to a location, we simply need to point our ship at it and wait for both the spooling percentage and the calibration percentage to hit 100. Once it's ready, we can just hold the B button. Let's take a closer look at one of those red locations. If we aim our ship at it, we can see our quantum drive heads-up display gives us a warning that we have insufficient fuel. But if we look at another location that is blue, we see our quantum drive spools and calibrates with no problem. Let's look at an example of a destination being blocked by an object. Here we see the moon Ariel can be easily quantum to, but the station L2 is blocked by the planet, as you can see, and so it gives us an obstructed warning. If we want to jump to it, we'll have to navigate around the planet. So in this case, we can use an orbital marker, or an OM. Here we see OM1, and we'll jump straight to that. There's nothing actually in space at an orbital marker. It's merely a point in space that you can jump to. Now we see, with the planet no longer blocking us, we could easily jump to L2 if we wanted to. If we look back at the planet, we notice every location, even those on the far side, are blue, showing that we could quantum jump to them. The reason for this is, planet-side locations allow your ship to do what's called a spline jump, where basically your ship will travel roughly in a circular path around the planet. Let's take a look at what that looks like now. So we see our ship rotates and then aligns over the horizon of the planet. Also notice that the quantum travel is a little bit slower when we're doing a spline jump. It is not nearly as fast as jumping from a point to deep space. And we'll also notice that usually when we use quantum travel, it tends to drop us out at about 20 to 30 kilometers from our destination. An exception to this would be if you quantum travel directly to a member of your party, which tends to drop you out at about 10 kilometers from your party member. One final thing to know is that we can stop quantum travel at any time by holding the B button. After we've stopped, we need to remember to clear the route in our Skyline star map. Even if you didn't set a route before, the star map will try to save the route that you were just trying to do. So if you want to go somewhere else, you'll need to clear it manually. Next, let's look at how to use the Skyline star map. Given how many destinations there are in Star Citizen, it might be quicker and easier to set a route using the Skyline star map, instead of having to pick out individual destinations just by looking around. We see here I've given myself a mission that has a target 42 million kilometers away. It's at ArcCorp, and I'm currently at Crusader. One choice would be to just press B to start up my quantum drive, and then manually aim my ship at it. The other option is to press F2 to open our star map. And so we see here, this is our star map for the Stanton system. If we look closely, we can see our target is highlighted at ArcCorp. So I could use my mouse wheel to scroll in if I wanted to, or to make it easier, I can just double click on the planet to zoom in. And then I can double click again on Lyria to get even closer. I can also double right click to zoom all the way back out if I happen to have clicked on the wrong place. So now I want to set my route to the target on Lyria. So I'll zoom in, and then I can click and drag, in this case the moon Lyria, to get a better look at our destination. You see here it's at a Shubin processing facility. I can click on that, and then afterwards I can click the Set Route button. Now we encounter our first problem. We see that I do not have enough fuel to actually make the trip. So instead, what I'll have to do is I'll have to find a closer location, maybe somewhere in the middle, that I can stop, refuel, and then start my journey again. In this case, a good candidate is HER L5. So I'll double click that. We see the station here. We'll click on the station, and then we'll click Set Route to change our route to HER L5. And we see I definitely have enough fuel to make this trip. So we'll press F2 again to close star map. And now we see we have a constantly highlighted indicator of where HER L5 is, that little diamond shape up there. So now I'll turn on my quantum drive. It begins to spool. And then I'll aim my ship at HER L5, and we'll quantum there, stop and refuel, and then we'll set route again for ArcCorp afterwards. So we've refueled at HER L5. We open star map. We can see we've got a full tank of gas. Just make sure to clear route. And then we'll set route again. I'll speed this up since you know how to do it at this point. So now with our new route set, we see we definitely have enough fuel to make it. It's going to take us all the way to the Shubin processing facility. So we'll close star map, and then we'll take off, and we'll QT to ArcCorp, just like we did before.
You are clear to launch.
So as we approach ArcCorp, and we drop out of QT, we'll notice that because we've set a route that has more than one leg of a trip, it will automatically highlight the next point that we need to QT to, so we don't need to continue looking around. So we see here Lyria's in the distance, just waiting for our cooldown. And then we can just jump it again, right to it. And now, because our target is somewhere planet side, our final jump should be a spline jump to the location on the surface of Lyria. And just like we saw before, this final jump, after it completes, should drop us out about 30 kilometers from the destination. In the case of this jump, it's not quite over the horizon, so our ship will jump straight to it. And now that our jump is complete, the route should clear, and that's it. Now we're going to look at some of the bugs and issues that might come up when you're trying to use quantum travel or use the Skyline star map. Probably one of the most common issues you'll face when trying to use quantum travel is your drive not engaging. That is, you are completely spooled and completely calibrated, but when you hold the B button, the quantum drive fails to initiate. The easiest way to fix this is to simply slew off target until you get the warning, wait for your calibration to hit 0, and then realign back to the target. In this case, I'm going to try to quantum jump to this location here on Daymar, but I've also asked one of my friends to go park their ship also at the same location. And so we can see when quantum travel is active, the quantum drive on your ship has a hard time choosing which location to lock onto, and so because of that it constantly flips back and forth. The way we can avoid this is by using Skyline to then just choose the location we want. In this case, maybe either my friend Wacko here or the location that he's at. We see once I've selected a destination in the Skyline star map, then, of course, the quantum drive knows exactly where I want to go and doesn't have any errors calibrating. One important thing to note is that you should never quantum jump directly to a player that is on the opposite side of a planet from you. The reason for this is that while it may sometimes work, on occasion it could glitch and your ship will attempt to quantum jump directly through the planet, which will of course kill you. If you have line of sight, this is not an issue, so you can quantum travel safely. The next issue is the fail to plot. Occasionally, when you open your Skyline map to plot a route, after you've selected a destination and press the Set Route button, you might notice that the Skyline system itself might not give you a route to use. This can happen for a few different reasons, but most commonly, the game is having a hard time calculating how to get from your current position to your desired destination as efficiently as possible. The workaround is to go from wherever you're at to a known location. Usually an orbital marker might be easiest. Once you've jumped to that location, you can open the Skyline map again to try to reset your route. One last issue we'll look at is what I like to call the emergency stop. So before, we mentioned that holding the B button can stop quantum travel wherever you are. However, if you're doing a spline jump, or if your quantum drive gets bugged out, holding the B button may not work. In these cases, we're going to press the U button. U button is the general power button for your ship, and this will turn off the quantum drive. Note that after this happens, you may have an audio glitch. That is, the quantum travel audio will still be playing in the background. The way that you can fix this, it may not work, is by jumping to any other location. The new quantum audio will cut off the bugged quantum audio. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully this video has made it a little bit easier for you to figure out how to get around in the Star Citizen universe. Have fun playing, and I'll see you in the verse.